Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered the same message to the UN last night. In a forceful 29-minute address to the General Assembly, Netanyahu laid out the single biggest issue confronting the world today.
The most urgent challenge facing this body today is to prevent the tyrants of Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons. Are the members of the United Nations up to that challenge? Will the international community confront a despotism that terrorizes its own people as they bravely stand up for freedom? Will it take action against the dictators who stole an election in broad daylight and then gunned down Iranian protesters who died in the sidewalks on the street choking in their own blood? Will the international community thwart the world's most pernicious sponsor and practitioner of terrorism? Above all, will the international community stop the terrorist regime of Iran from developing atomic weapons, thereby endangering the peace of the entire world?
Netanyahu, who returned to Israel this afternoon, blasted the United Nations over a number of issues, among them allowing Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad to spew Holocaust denial from the same podium before the General Assembly.
Yesterday, the man who calls the Holocaust a lie spoke from this podium. To those who refuse to come, and to those who left in protest, I commend you. You stood up for moral clarity, and you brought honor to your countries. But to those who gave this Holocaust denier a hearing, I say on behalf of my people, the Jewish people, and decent people everywhere, have you no shame? Have you no decency? A mere 6 decades after the Holocaust, you give legitimacy to a man who denies the murder of 6 million Jews while promising to wipe out the state of Israel, the state of the Jews? What a disgrace. What a mockery of the Charter of the United Nations.
The Prime Minister also took the UN to task for ignoring 8 years of rocket attacks raining down on Sderot, while condemning Israel for defending itself against those same attacks. Netanyahu said Israel needs to know now whether the world body will back Israeli defending itself after future territorial withdrawal.
Year after year, as these missiles were deliberately fired on our civilians, not a single, not one UN resolution was passed condemning those criminal attacks. We heard nothing, absolutely nothing, from the UN Human Rights Council, a misnamed institution if there ever was one. Ladies and gentlemen, Israel justly defended itself against terror. This biased and unjust report provides a clear-cut test for all governments. Will you stand with Israel, or will you stand with the terrorists? We must know the answer to that question now. Now, not later. Because if Israel is again asked to take more risk for peace, we must know today that you will stand with us tomorrow. Only if we have the confidence that we can defend ourselves can we take further risks for peace. And make no mistake about it, all of Israel wants peace.
Hamas and Palestinian Authority figures criticized Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech in New York. Saeed Barakat said that Netanyahu's demand that the Palestinians recognize Israel as a Jewish state was unacceptable. A Hamas spokesman said that Netanyahu's speech was full of lies and claimed that Palestine was never Jewish soil and never would be. Some 24 protesters rallied for the release of captured IDF soldier Gilad Shalit in front of the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem today. Netanyahu was not present as he was still on his way home from the UN General Assembly in New York. One of the protesters was Esther Waxman, whose son Nachshon was abducted and murdered by Hamas. She said not enough is being done to secure Shalit's release. Waxman also criticized Netanyahu for failing to include any demand to release Gilad Shalit in his speech in New York.